It is Monday, April 21st. Yesterday was Easter Sunday, so if you were celebrating, I hope your celebration went wonderful. And for those of you that were just enjoying a nice day off, I hope your day off went well as well. It was a beautiful day here in the middle of Ohio yesterday, great weather. Today it's a little overcast with some rain, so that's gonna impede the ability for me to do pictures outside. It's a little bit dark on the inside, so what I think we're gonna do today, since I'm gonna put pictures off, is I'm gonna show you some of the items that I sold over the weekend. There's a couple of surprises in there, especially from some items that I sourced at the bins recently that I didn't catch on camera. So there will be a little bit of overlap. You're gonna see some items you've seen before. But I'm going to share some of those items with you, and then we're going to head up to maybe a store or two to do a little bit of shopping. My current listing count is the most I've ever carried, so we're at around 2150 as of, I think, the end of last night. So I'm still working to get to that massive goal of 3,000 by the end of the year. You guys know that it's a big hill to climb, and I feel like I'm getting way behind, even though there's still plenty of opportunity left in the year, especially with summer coming up, where the opportunities to source grow a little bit as the weather gets better here in the Midwest. So let's look at a couple items that I sold over the weekend, and then we are going to go shop. Let's do the overlap items first. This was the Lululemon vest, black, that you saw me source in a recent video. This was a viewer order, so thank you so much if you're watching. Thanks so much for the order. And anybody that has ever ordered from me in the past that watches me on YouTube, I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for that. So I had this listed, I think, for $40, and I took an offer of $30, so moved it quick. If you remember, the comparables were all in the white color, so I was hesitant about where I was going to price this because the black didn't look like a good seller, but $30 to a viewer, I am super grateful for that, so thank you again. We sold it, and we sold it quick. Next item here, you guys will remember the Roback Hesse. One of the things about this is I did mention, and I encourage you to do this too, that there was cracking on the signature stripe, and there was a little bit of cracking on the logo. I don't know if you guys can see that from this distance, but I did mention that when I was sourcing it at the bins. So I put that in the description. It's still sold. I had it listed for $50, and it sold for $43. The thing about this, just from a personal standpoint, is it's a size medium, so it's way too tight for me, but it was long enough. I don't know why they manufacture that in that manner, but I feel like if I got a large that fit me in like my shoulders and my arms areas, that would be like a dress. It would be really long. So I don't have an explanation for that, but that's just food for thought. If you ever find one, you're like, wow, this seems like really long. They are really long, and that's not the standard for at least their polo shirts. So just a weird manufacturing quirk, something for you to be aware of. So anyway, I had it listed for $50 and sold it for $43. All right, next item here is one that I found at the bins that I did not get on camera. And you know, you can speculate or make as educated a guess as you can on why an item sells when it sells. For something like this, I really don't have an explanation, and that's why I didn't put it on camera. I felt like I was going to be holding on to this for a long time. It's 47 brand, Cleveland Indians, strap back hat. It's in great condition. I listed it for $20, and it sold for $20 within like a day or two, which is crazy to me, only considering there are a lot of Cleveland Indian Chief Wahoo hats on the market. I don't know what makes the 47 brand hat sell that quickly for $20, but it sold fast, and I am not complaining. Yes, it's baseball season. Yes, there's still a huge market for Cleveland Indians items. You guys that don't know this, they are now the Cleveland Guardians. They have abandoned that brand, or that branding, because it got offensive to some. So there's still a market for it. Sold it for $20, and I have no explanation as to why it sold so fast. Next item here, you know, it's funny. Sometimes I wonder, when people watch and you see me source something and then you hear me talk about the price that I'm going to list it at, how many go, Brendan, you are out of your mind. Like, that seems way too high. So I think I had this hat listed for $50, this Hamilton watch hats. This was in one of my videos when I was out sourcing. And somebody made an offer from California for $45, so I took that. And this hat sold for $45. The comparables did dictate where I was going to price the item. Okay, so there were solds that were $50 and higher that led me to price this hat in this manner, but I feel like this is one that like a lot of people might just pass up. And the fact that it's sold for $45, there will always be a sub-segment of society that money is not an issue to them. I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but let's just assume that this person, money is not the issue. They want it to match maybe a Hamilton watch that they might be wearing, which is expensive. Who knows? But there's always a market for people that will spend a little bit more. And so I feel like with the way I have designed the business that I'm running, it's okay to target them when you think it makes sense. And in this case, with this brand, I thought that made sense. So I am absolutely happy to take $45. I don't think I would ever pay $45 for a Hamilton watch hat. I'm not a watch wearer, so it just, even if I was, I think $45 for a hat is crazy. And I know that that's the going rate for a lot of hats that you see at like Lids and stuff like that, which is just bananas to me. But $45 for a used Hamilton watch hat, I am never going to complain for that. And I don't think you should either when you're listing high. Okay, this is another one where my most recent bins trip, I didn't put it on camera because I thought I would have to wait until the fall until it sold, and it sold super quick for 30 bucks. It is a Cedar Point embroidered hoodie from Hollow Weekends, which you can see down the sleeve right here. I don't remember if I was the only one that had a large, but there are very few of these, I guess, in this style listed. And what I noticed in some of the older listings or the ones that have sold was that they didn't mention this like extra pocket. So you've got the little like pocket cove here, but then this unzips and you can hold more items for whatever for whatever reason. So I did mention this like from a keyword perspective in the description. I have no idea if that led to the sale or not. Again, it's just another one where I can't explain why this sold in April and it sold so fast when it didn't look like that big of a seller. And that's a part of the reason I didn't even put it in the video, because I really just thought I would be sitting on it. It sold for 30 bucks. It sold quick. Probably only cost me a couple of dollars because we did pick it up at the bins. But that's just like, I guess, another lesson for me to like video more of the things you don't really think will sell quickly, because there's a lesson to learn regardless. So it sold fast and I am extremely happy. I got one more thing to show you here. This pair of ballet flats. If you've never seen these before, the brand is Lissom. Lissom. I don't think it's really blurry when I focus or when I move in like that. Lissom. These are called Flight ballet flats. You can see what the soles look like. These sold for $35 with $5 shipping, which again, I was on the higher side, so these have been sitting for a long time, but they did sell. The black color, if you find them, sells probably a little bit quicker, but these are customarily in the $15 to $25 range. So I was on the higher end, and this was probably just one of those ones where it was like list it and forget it. I can't even remember if I sourced these at the bins or if I got them at the store. I feel like this would be an unlikely purchase for me if I was getting them in a store. So I probably found them in the bins, but they sold. List it, forget it, which is how I handle the vast majority of my listings. Although just recently I started ending and selling some items that do need to be refreshed, but I very rarely, if ever, do that. And so this is one of the ones where just list it, forget it. They sold for 35 bucks. I'm going to ship them out today. This is an amazing sale because I'm pretty sure these came from the bins, and they're very, very light. So we're talking maybe $1 cost because it's like $2 to $2.30 a pound for clothing and shoes at my bins outlet. And that's it. There are more sales from the weekend, but this would take forever to get through all of them. So we're going to cut this off here and check the weather really quickly outside. Depending on how it is, we're going to head up to a store. Now it's like a little overcast, and I think the rain has stopped a little bit. You can hear the birds, but the deck is wet. I might spray it and then let it dry. The table I could shoot on, but I think I'm just going to pack up everything that you saw here along with the rest of the items that I've sold, and then we're gonna go shop. All right, I finished up all of my shipping, which is great because I don't like doing it this late in the day, even though we still have plenty of time left in the day. And the sun is starting to come out, so just some more erratic Ohio weather. All right, I looked at some of the racks that I thought were new, and I'm going to grab these Bird Dogs shorts. These are great sellers. In fact, when you look at the comparables that I put on the screen, all three of them are from today, as of today's posting this video. And I have a couple of things that I like about it. They're a size medium, but they are not only a fast seller right now, they are sort of patriotic in the color scheme. And so, we've got the 4th of July coming up as the next major holiday here. And I think I moved them quickly because of that, in addition to them just being bird dogs. There are other brands like Chubby's, Freeballers, that make a very similar style and color scheme short, but I feel like the bird dogs are the ones that are selling the best, even better than the Chubby's right now, which is more maybe like I know they have fashionable shorts. They have swim trunks too. I don't think these can be used as swimming trunks. Their lining doesn't like, maybe you can take it in the water, but I think they sell for around $25. I would be comfortable with that. And it's going to cost me like around $5 or $6. You can see that John Lennon shirt. I originally thought I had something that might be potentially vintage, but when I looked at the comparables and I was looking at the tag and trying to come to conclusions, it just didn't look like it was vintage, nor was it a good seller or a high dollar seller. So I would have to pay $5.50 for that t-shirt. I'm leaving it behind. There's no value for it for me. And then I don't know that the rest of this rack had much to work with. A lot of the same brands that you always see, the Old Navy's, Mossimos, this Abercrombie & Finch, that was a nice pair of swim trunks. I try not to pick up tons of Abercrombie, but on occasion I do find a decent piece and see a decent piece from them. It's just a brand I like to avoid for a number of reasons. But yeah. Nothing doing there. This was Britannia. Maybe I was going a little bit too fast. I should have pulled those off, but I'm going to assume there's no value there. But of course, when I do that, it's usually something that was worth looking at. But I'll take the shorts, and then I moved over into where the electronics are. And this is a Harman Kardon Soundstick system speaker. It's just one speaker. They have it individually priced. So I did look for the system itself and then maybe the other speaker or some components that somebody may have donated. It doesn't look like there were any. You can see me checking the seam. One of the things you have to watch with that glass is it splits pretty easy. It might be an easy fix, but you do have to pay attention to that. As for the price, I think I'm going to list it between $20 and $30. The comparable that you see is $21 or $22 with free shipping. But lucky for me, my procrastination helps me in this case because I have a soundstick system that I bought at your garage sale either a year or 2 years ago that is literally still in my basement. So it will be easy for me to test to make sure the thing is working. And then I guess with some nice photographs, I think I'm going to maybe put it in the middle. I have to put it on a scale to see if I can get it shipped for a decent price, like maybe around $5. But if it goes over a pound or so, that might have an effect on how I price it. So I would love to get $30, and there are $30 sales for just the single replacement speaker, but it remains to be seen. Okay, next thing here, a fresh cart of shoes came out, and I'm only going to take the OOFOS. Now, this style is called OOMG, something like that. And you can see that the midsoles are white. There's like an all black version where the uppers and the midsoles and the soles are all black. The most likely price for the ones I have or had in my hand is going to be around $40. Pricing and sales are pretty erratic, but there's enough volume there so that if I'm on the higher side, like around $40, $45, I still think that they will sell pretty quick. And that's what I'm hoping for. You did see the OOFOS that I found at the bins. I have those listed for $35. These were women's size 11, so it might take a little bit longer. And then there's a lot of Skechers here that I probably should have taken a double take and look, because some of the styles are like really new to me. And even though I pass up on a lot of Skechers, there still are plenty that sell well. So, but when I say sell well, I'm talking velocity, not necessarily the price. So keep that in mind. I'm going to pass on the Timberlands once I looked at, I forget what the style name on those was, but there were too many listed, those Chelsea boots, and none sold in the last 90 days. So I'm going to leave the Timberlands behind. OOFOS is probably the only solid one out of this entire cart. So I'm going to leave those shoes behind, grab them. And we are going to move over into some of the home decor items because this is the area that I focus on hardest. And I like the tiki glass, but I feel like I've seen them before. So I'm going to leave that behind. There was no mark on that little tiny little plate. And then I saw some more tiles here, but it turns out that they were Southern Home. And while I didn't look them up, I'm assuming they didn't have any value. So I'm leaving them behind as well, but I really go through this area now with a fine-tooth comb always. And I feel like slowly but surely that success will start to kick in. I have sold some items that in categories that I wasn't in or focused on last year. So we're getting better. We're trying to improve, trying to just overall sell more by learning more, learning other categories. All right, I moved over to toys because this little thing caught my eye. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any value. It's a Transformer, and I think it's Megatron. But I don't know exactly what. When I was doing the comps, it was like $5, $10, $12. So I left that behind. But it's very rare you find Transformers at all in store, especially the first series, those older ones. This one here looked like a Bop It. What was that called? I don't remember what it. Can't remember what it says on the other end. Also, no value at around like $15. Some selling for 10, some selling for 15. So I thought I had two things here. I really don't have anything at all. Looked up that little mini Sax, no value. And then I thought this Oogie Bear, it says it's a bulb aspirator, so maybe it has something to do with helping the, like, I don't know, nasal passages for a little kid. Looked that up, none sold in the last 90 days when I scanned the UPC code, so leaving that behind as well. But this is an area in the store where I do, and I'll do this with the cosmetics as well. I will dig often the bottom of those bins because there definitely are things that are sitting there that nobody catches. So nothing this time. The Nerf dog compact blaster gun, that looked awesome. And actually that would be a good, I wonder if it'll be there tomorrow. That'd be a good gift for someone I know that has dogs. No value as far as resale goes, as far as I could see. So another one that I thought was going to work out, but is not going to in the end. And the Nerf basketball thing was completely destroyed, so can't use that. And I don't know if those things have. There are some Dude Perfect basketball hoops that have like little Nerf balls in it that used to have value, if I remember. But you know, those things change all the time. Okay, this is where my inexperience may get me. These little doll heads, $4 for the entire lot, and there's like 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Would you have picked this up? Is this an area where you excel in, like these doll head? And I know there's like people out there that buy them and utilize them, and there's a bunch of them in here. But I didn't pick it up because I felt like it would take me too long to do the research, do the photographs, lot it up. I could be making like a mistake by doing that, but here's the real winner in today's video. And this is the second time I have found one of these bells. If you look right there, HHB, it stands for Harmony Hollow Bell Works. They are a bell making family started by Jeff Cross, who passed away in '77. I am not going to mention where the business is headquartered. You can do that in research for yourself, but these bells are super popular. And so looking at the condition, it looks great. It sounds great. They only have it marked $4. I do not recall the last one I sold and the price I sold it for. I think it was between $100 and $200. It could have been more, I think, depending on the size, because the one that I found before was a little bit bigger. This one here, I'm probably going to price around the $100 range. And what a find. Isn't that amazing? And I hope anytime I put something like this in the video that you recognize it, you add it to your BOLO list, you go out soon after you hear me speak and you look for these things and you catalog them in your head, because I believe they are in a lot of the stores that you folks source in. And I know the reselling business is very location dependent, especially when it comes to if you're finding inventory at thrift stores and how those thrift stores handle the donations that they get. I totally understand that. But keep your eyes open for all of these things, because I do hope that you find them or similar items when you are out sourcing garage sales, thrift stores, estate sales, wherever it is you're doing your sourcing. So I'm going to go through the rest of this aisle because that was sort of a sleeper that was just hanging around. And luckily for me, I had seen one before and sold one before, so I recognized it immediately. As for the rest of the stuff on this aisle, anytime there's an expensive one, I'm like, what else did these people collect that had value? So, and I let them getting low. I'm looking at the bottom shelves here just to see if anything had been tucked away or just passed over. I didn't catch anything quite as lucky as the bell, but keep those eyes open, keep those ears open. And I don't think there's anything else to look at on these shelves. So I'm going to call it quits. Nothing there on those Pizzelle Maker pieces and components. They had $17 on it. So I think it's going to be it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next one.